Cuz the Internet podcast. I'm your host Trey.
And I'm your Jose. Let's get into it. Man lets partner starve during vacay. Sparks viral combo on splitting travel bills. I'm going to read it. It's lengthy, so please bear with me.
Got you.
Okay. So, a user on the popular Reddit thread, Am I the A-hole, posed a question to the platform to get some outside perspective on an issue that he's probably now wishing he kept to himself. The poster stated that he and his girlfriend of 2 years shared all bills 50-50 since the beginning of their relationship. Things got a bit complicated, however, when they agreed to go on an expensive international vacation with his seemingly wealthy family. Should I continue reading? Because there's a little bit more.
Please keep going.
Okay. So, for context, he works as an IT consultant, pulling in $150,000 a year, while his girlfriend is a teacher with a $45,000 per year salary. To prepare for the travel bills, she picked up a second job as a waitress on weekends. But even the extra income wasn't enough to offset the cost of the trip. She opted out of several activities like wine tasting, scuba diving, and only ate 2 meals per day. Now, in quotes, he wrote, "My parents thought it was very strange that she only ate 2 meals a day, although normally she eats 3 meals," he shared. The Reddit user reportedly asked his girlfriend about the change in habits, saying that he heard her stomach growling at one point and claiming that he was concerned about her having an eating disorder. So she admitted being unable to afford the expensive itinerary, including more meals, and feeling overwhelmed by the whole ordeal. So now he writes again. She doesn't know if this is going to work long term if she's expected to go on vacations like this with people who make so much more than her, he explained, adding, "I feel bad that I didn't pick up on the discomfort sooner, but we did agree to split everything 50-50, and I don't know why she agreed to come if cost was the issue." So.
Yeah, that's a lot. So, I'll go first. Now,
Sure.
Okay, I have a couple of feelings on this. All right. So, first, if we're going by technically, he's right. Technically, if you can't afford something, you should let it be known. You shouldn't let your pride get in the way. So he is technically right about, it's not his job to know whether she can afford or whether she's including herself into something she can't afford or can't. Right? Now.
Sorry, can I just say something?
Yeah.
While you're in the middle of your.
Yeah.
Okay, you're right. Technically, he is right.
Yes.
But that's if you just meet this person and you know nothing about this person and it is what it is. Y'all have been dating for 2 years now. Yes, you guys have been splitting everything 50-50 since the beginning of your relationship. But you know her financial status as well as she knows yours. So you bring this on her. You know she even went and got a second job to do on weekends to try to pay for this, and it wasn't enough. So anyways, carry on. I'll state my piece later.
So now the thing is, what I'll just throw into this, because you just brought up a little something, and I know we're going to digress a little, but I'll play devil's advocate here. It seems as though, even though they were together, they were living separate lives. Yeah. Therefore, he might not know how much he spends, how much he has saved, this, that, and the other. Other than his jerk comment, like, if you can't afford it, you shouldn't have came. Other than that, I think he actually did the right thing. He asked her, like, is everything okay? He was concerned if she was having an eating problem. He didn't know. At least he didn't know. It wasn't as though he knew what was going on. He actually was concerned, asked, and then she disclosed the problem. I'm just saying, judging from what he said, of course, it might have been something different if I believe they were sharing each other's finances. Because again, how it sounds is they split everything 50-50. So he might not know what she has in her bank or what she has saved up for this trip, realistically, if that's not what their relationship entails. Now, my question would be, what happened after the fact, after he found this out? Did he either offer to pay more, like helping her out, like pay for her supper or breakfast or whatever she's missing out on? Did he decide to do more like cost efficient, cheaper things with her? And again, this is your girl. So if the family is living, you know what I mean, private jet life and she could only afford economy, with your girl, you should be riding economy, regardless of what you can afford. Or if you can't afford for both of you, you both, knowing her financial status, you're supposed to make her feel comfortable in that position, my opinion. So my question would be, what happened after the fact? But the initial fact and the initial problem, he sounds like a jerk, but again, in his defense, he said he didn't know. He just did not know her problem, that she couldn't afford it. She got a second job, but you know, some people get a second job because she's like, I want to do crazy shopping when I'm out there. I want to da da da. So, and he's like, cool, do your thing. That's our relationship. Now, if maybe, I don't know for a fact, but maybe if he would have known that she was actually starving herself, he would have been like, look, I'll take care of this, da da da. Again, his statement about if you can't afford it, don't come, that all the way wrong, in my opinion. But it's factual, but it's still wrong. But other than that, I think he handled it right, to my knowledge. How do you feel about it?
He handled it all wrong.
Okay.
All wrong. Now, I understand since the beginning of the relationship, everything was split 50-50.
Mm-hmm.
And you invite her on a trip with your family. You know your family is wealthy and you know she's not making as much as you make.
Okay.
She takes a second job to help support the bills. Now, from day one, if you're there with your girl and you guys go for breakfast and you're eating like a king and she's just like, oh, I'm not even hungry. And you're like, yeah, I know you eat breakfast every day because every day we're together, you eat breakfast, lunch, snack, lupper, supper, dinner, a midnight snack, and you're only eating 2 meals a day. You have to know something is up. Like, you can't just be like, oh, I heard your stomach growling. Is everything okay? Really? Really? You have to know something's up. But anyways,
I agree.
some people are oblivious. So maybe he was just oblivious.
Yeah.
But then the fact that he said, well, if you couldn't afford it, you shouldn't have come. That means he wasn't really oblivious. He just, hey, like, if you can't afford, like,
That's
you're
the part.
with.
No, but I agree with you.
Like,
That's
when
the
you're
part.
dating someone, but that's it. When you're dating someone, well, I mean, at our ages, even earlier, yes, you test the waters to see who you're compatible with, who you're not compatible with. If you spend 2 years with somebody, this is not somebody who you're just going to be like, we're just spending time together, getting to know each other. No, you guys already know each other and know if you want to be with each other or not. At this point, if you're not willing to help her out, then you're not willing to help her. I don't know why she's wasting her time with this. Because, I mean, yeah, she wants to be independent, I guess, and shows that she can hold her own and she doesn't need his. And that's fine. But at the same time, she's proven to you time and time again, she doesn't need you to do it. She can do it on her own, or she'll find a way to do it on her own. You invite her on this expensive family trip. Okay, you can help her out. She's not going anywhere. She's not there for your money. Calm down, my guy. So I think he's wrong.
So I get what you're saying, and I agree partially because, like I stated, if he's just oblivious, not knowing, he doesn't know what's in her account. He knows that she doesn't make as much as him, but that doesn't change if someone can't afford something or not. Do we agree on that? Like, he might not know. Now, my question to you though, does she deserve any blame?
No.
For real? No blame.
What did she do wrong? What did she do wrong?
Okay. Now, what she would do wrong, because I would say this.
He invited her
and
to
she
the trip.
accepted.
She said yes.
On
and
a trip
was
she
like,
can't
let
afford.
me try to pull my own weight and let me get a second job.
I
still got a second job. You know what? I'm going to make sacrifices and I'm going to eat 2 meals a day. I'm going to opt out of some of the extracurricular activities.
Yes.
So that's what she did.
But she's still holding it against him, though.
Does it say she's holding it against him, or
Yeah,
he's
she
just
said
asking
if
if he's
no,
deal?
she said if this is how it's gonna be, I don't know if I can stay in this relationship.
Well, because she's gonna have to be there trying to
But it's a
spend
decision
all the.
she made. Now I get what
Okay.
you're saying. I fully get what you're saying. But at the end of the day, she chose to go on this trip. She knew that she wasn't able to afford. I'm not saying in a relationship, I think that you should help each other out. But you don't vocalize something when it's all the way bad. You need to speak about it when you're struggling and you realize you can't afford it. Be like, yo, honestly, I really want to go on this trip with you and your family, but I can't afford it. I need you to help me with it. That's how it reasonably should be done. It's not you
Mhm.
go out there, your belly's growling, and you build up this whole heap of resentment to your partner to say, I don't know, we could do this anymore because I can't afford this trip we're on right now. So I think she deserves
No, no,
about
no. Hold
50% of
on.
the blame.
It's not that she. I don't think she said she couldn't do this anymore because
Mhm.
she couldn't because of this trip.
Okay.
I feel like she was saying she couldn't do it anymore for future trips. If this is what the trips are going to be like, extravagant, lavish
Mhm.
trips where she can't afford and he's not willing to help her or not able to help her, not wanting to help her.
Yeah.
In her mind, she's like, you know what? I understand it's a partnership. We go 50-50, but
Yeah.
you make so much more than me. If you expect me to be around you and your family and you're not even going to help me, then I don't know if I can do this.
And I
And
think,
that's what I feel like she was saying.
and,
So I
and
don't think she's blaming him saying,
I
I
think,
don't want
I
to be
think
with you
it
because
sounded like
uh,
it. It sounded like there
I
was a
read it. It
bunch of
didn't sound like
resent.
it.
Yeah, how your voice cracked. But the thing is, how there was so much resentment. It seemed in those words that she was saying, like, if this kid's gonna how it's gonna be, I can't do this. Again, I'm not saying she's wrong for feeling that way, but I'm also saying that on her part, she should have also understood what she's able to stand, what she's not able to stand, and what she's able to afford, what she's not able to afford. We all have to hold our own weight. She
Hold on.
tried
But
to
she
afford
found
it,
out. She found out what she was able to afford and not able
and
to
he
afford.
found
And
out
she's like,
too. That's
and
the
at
point.
this point, and this is why she said, you know what? If this is what it's going to be, I don't know if I can do it. Because he didn't even say, you know what? Let me help you out.
Well, that's the part we're not sure of.
If you can afford it, why did you come? He was
No,
not
no,
trying to help her out.
maybe, but it could just be the attitude of someone saying his rebuttal to, "Hey, I can't do this with you anymore." Da da da. If this is how it's gonna be, it's just like, first of all, if you knew you couldn't afford it, why did you come? Secondly, if you knew you couldn't afford it, why didn't you tell me? Don't come here being braggadocious, not bringing up anything, and starving yourself, and then come at me and tell me if this is how it's gonna be. This is not how it's gonna be. It's gonna be if you don't speak your mind. Speak up. Tell me that you can't afford something. Don't just be like acting like nothing's wrong and then look at me in the morning and tell me you hate me over something I had no clue over. I'm just saying, hate to be that guy. I'm not trying to take up for him, but I
You
think
don't
it's
hate to be that guy.
I
You love to be that guy.
I just think it's a 50-50. I think they both hold him for just not being smart, not paying attention to his relationship clearly. You know what I mean? He's not in tune. But her for not speaking what her problem is until it's at a breaking point of, yo, this is not for me. It could have probably been resolved from the time you had to pick up the second job. If you would have said, look, I really want to go on this trip. I really can't afford it. I'm going to need your help. And if he would have said no, that's when I could understand her being like, look, I need someone that's going to be in this with me. But if you didn't even give him the chance to say that, I can't fully put that on him. I'm just saying.
Let me ask you a question.
Hmm.
Suppose you were in this situation with your wife
Yeah.
and y'all went on a trip and she was struggling and then she came to you after saying, yo, would you even have let it got to that point?
Hell no. But that's
Okay.
not our
So,
relationship though. We don't, it's not a split like it's mine is yours, yours is not.
okay.
It's not a split thing. That's not the
Okay.
base of our relationship.
Okay. So, suppose that did happen. Would you hold a grudge over her for feeling the way she felt? Feeling like you could have helped me out? You didn't even do anything. And I felt ashamed and stupid because I'm here with your family, a trip you
So,
invited me on, knowing that I'm struggling. I don't make as much as you, not knowing that you are related to the Queen of England and you guys
mhm,
have money coming out of the wazoo and you guys
mhm.
have me going on all types of fancy trips. but I have to save face and try to do what I can to blend in and try to act like, okay, you know what, everything's all good. And then they start making comments about her. Oh man, she must have an eating disorder. How come she's not eating? Oh, I know she eats 3 meals a day, but she was only eating 2 meals, and I heard her stomach growling, and I was like, hey, is something okay?
See, but the
What are
question
you gonna do?
is, the actual question is, to be honest, I didn't even think about this. They really split everything, because even the meals. When don't you pay
Pay for
for
your
your
girl.
woman's
Yeah,
meal?
yeah,
Again,
yeah.
but she has to take some accountability too, bro, because you're in this relationship with a man that doesn't buy you supper. You're in a relationship with a man that doesn't buy you lunch. You're in a relationship with a man that doesn't buy you breakfast. And I'm supposed to be like, yo, there has to be some accountability, bro. Come on. That's crazy talk. She can't think about it. She can't afford her breakfast, and she is with her partner on a trip. Think about how messed up that sounds. There has to be some accountability on her side. I'm sorry for her not to have looked over the first day and been like, "You really made me take out my money." Come on. I'm
See,
sorry.
the thing is, once again, because of the way we were raised and we were
Mm,
brought up, hey, that wouldn't happen. So I'm not going to hold her accountable for it. I really am not,
okay.
because that's his responsibility as the man to take care of her, help her out. Like, even if you're not paying for all the other things, like you said,
Mm.
as long as you're paying for the meals, then that's fine. But you paid for nothing, and then you're going to act surprised, like, hey, she was only eating 2 meals, and I heard her stomach growling, and I thought she had an eating disorder. No one's that oblivious. I don't care what anybody says.
I
No.
agree. I agree. And we're not gonna make this a long one. All I'm trying to say though, is the same way he should have known better, she should want more for herself. And I'm talking about even past this
Yeah.
breaking point. If your partner is legit making you pay for all your meals, clearly I don't know. That's in my opinion, that's not a good sign. That's all I'm trying to say. Definitely not a good sign.
I mean, it's a great segue. This takes me to our favorite time of the day.
What time is it?
It's time for Tales of the Internet. 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 So, Chad Ochocinco,
Mm,
he said, if she lets you pay for everything, she don't love you, fellas. Don't fall for the okey doke. So I figured, since we were talking about him not paying
mm.
for anything, he's now saying if she lets you pay for everything, she doesn't love you. Do you agree with that or not?
Okay, so I think it's two part. I think that depending on the relationship, because again, like I said, in my relationship, my money is my wife's money, my wife's money is my
Exactly.
money. So that changes nothing. But I do think that there is some truth to it, even though I don't think it's a golden rule. I do think there's some truth that there should be some sort of a hey, whether you buy a house and she wants to buy you lunch, like it doesn't have to be the same thing, but it's still some
Exactly.
sort of a
Give and take.
appreciation, give and take. So I think there is some truth to it. It sounds very kind of black and white, which I don't think it is. I think every relationship's different, but I do think that for the most part there nobody should want, even I'm sure women, I can't speak for women, but I'm assuming women like to be treated good and like to be spent on. But judging from my wife and strong women I know, they still want to make the man in their life feel good and
Yeah.
appreciated as well, and also want to give.
Hmm.
So I kind of I get I lean more to what he's saying than anything. I do agree. How do you feel about it?
I don't agree with what he's. Well, you know what? I hear what he's saying. I
Mhm.
don't agree with it, but I understand what he's saying. Because of all the stories that you hear about the women, the Instagram models, the women who ask people out on dates, and when they take them out on dates, they go to expensive restaurants and they feel like you're paying for their company.
Yeah.
they try to make you spend as much money as you can, and that's it. Then in those situations, I understand where this statement comes from.
Yeah.
But as an everyday golden rule, you meet
Mhm.
your girl, and if you're courting her in the beginning of the relationship, I don't feel that's true,
I agree.
because you're getting to know her,
Mhm.
you are spending time with her, and you're just paying for activities while spending time with her.
Exactly.
Because you don't want it to be boring. You don't want it to be, come over to my house, we'll watch movies. Come to Starbucks, we'll watch the Olympics. Starbucks doesn't have TVs. Come to the Tim Hortons and we can watch the Olympics.
Mhm.
Stuff like that. Then you know, obviously, you're trying to spice it up, make it interesting. Let's go mini putt. It doesn't necessarily always have to be expensive things.
So
Go.
no, I'm just saying. Now, you were saying you understood what he was saying, but you don't agree. Now, from what he's saying, if she doesn't pay for anything, she's not the one. That's for the most part what he said, right?
Yeah.
So
He said, if she don't pay for it, if she let you pay for everything, she don't love you, fellas.
yeah,
Don't
she
fall
don't
for the
love you.
okey doke.
Exactly. So what I'm trying to say is, I think he's being extreme on it, but at the
Extremely.
end of the day, if you're paying for everything and she doesn't offer at any point in time in the relationship, because I'm not saying in the beginning is whatever, but even when you guys are starting to get closer and closer, and it's just like, I think for the most part what he's trying to say is you don't want to be with someone that's only about themselves and selfish.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what would come across if the person is, doesn't necessarily, in my opinion, mean they might not love you, but I can't see anybody that would want to be with somebody that's not just giving, not willing to give. You know what I mean? And I think that's more so what he's trying to say, but in an extreme way. You know?
No, definitely. There's also an interview I watched with Ebony K. Williams.
Mhm.
Now, she was a successful lawyer. She has money. She can pay for her own stuff. She's not needing in any way, shape, or form. She's on the Real Housewives of New York or something like that. The first black uh,
Yeah, I
cast
got you.
member.
Yeah.
And she was saying if she gets in a relationship with somebody, she is not paying for anything. He has to pay for the stuff. She'll take care of the home, because the man's job is to provide and protect. So even though she can pay for stuff, she is not going to pay for it because that's his duty. She'll do the womanly duties,
Mhm.
say the cooking, cleaning, and stuff like that.
But I think she's probably being extreme, because if she really means it though, again, if she's out shopping and she sees a nice shirt and won't buy it just because, you know what I mean, that's her money, that's still
I
somebody
don't
you don't want
feel
to be with.
I don't feel like
Mm.
she would. I don't know these people, so I can't even
Yeah.
speak on it. But I don't feel like it's one of those things where if she's out, she won't spend her own money on herself.
No, I'm talking about on you. I'm
It's
saying if she sees a nice shirt, like, and that for you, and she
I
wouldn't
don't.
buy it,
Oh, I don't think it's that either.
and
I
that's
think
what,
she
but
probably.
that's what I'm trying to say. Because again, I understand for the most part the providing and all this extra stuff, but I think what he's saying is if she's not willing to say, hey babe, let's go
Yeah,
out for supper, it's on me, or it's your birthday, let me treat you to something, if she's not willing, then she's not the one, and she's only using you for what you can provide. I think that's what he's saying,
yeah,
extreme case. And I think with her, she's just saying extreme case, because I hope that, again, you would, like I said, you'd buy something if you see the person needs new shoes and you're out at the store, like you buy the shoes and you'd be like, hey, you owe me $200.
yeah.
What part of the game is that? I'm just hoping. I know we're just going. I'm just trying to read in between the extremes. That's
Yeah.
all I'm saying.